learn the latest news involving Liverpool interest in Christian Pulisic, as well as the big updates on Ousmane Dembele to Chelsea. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you smash the like button. I want to get over 2,000 likes for today's video, and just let you guys know in the card above, I have done a reaction video to all 122 goals scored from last season, so definitely give that a tune as well, you guys. Get involved in the comments, and without wasting any more time, so right now let's talk the latest news involving Christian Pulisic, as a tweet came out from German reporter Christian Volk, who does have, decent links and ties in the Bundesliga. He reports that Liverpool, of course, are looking at Pulisic as a potential replacement for Mane. Now, we know that we beat Liverpool to the signing of Pulisic all those seasons back, and it's not really any surprise that a team like Liverpool would still have, a lot of knowledge around Pulisic, and could personally feel like his game would naturally complement what Klopp is doing with his game pressing system at Liverpool. So, right now I'm going to give some of my thoughts and opinions. This will be an interesting one, and to be honest, I think this would be a terrible move if we allowed Pulisic to sign for Liverpool. Now, it is slightly ironic because I know that maybe a lot of fans may be feeling a bit impatient now with Pulisic based on some inconsistent form coming, injuries, etc, etc, with, from what I'm seeing, maybe a few people being very happy to see the player leaving. But the irony for me is that I'm seeing a lot of people on social media now very worried about the potential fact that Pulisic could go to Liverpool, probably become a better player and become a lot more dangerous. So what is that really saying about how the player's being used? It cast my mind back to the tweet that came out during early May from Pulisic's dad, where essentially he did say, the sad thing is he loves this club, teammates in London, puts his heart and soul into being a pro, big 6 months ahead, which is telling you a lot about maybe how Pulisic for sure has doubts around his future. Now, there is some confidence for a lot of Pulisic fans. Of course, Todd Bowley, ideally, now that he's our new owner, he doesn't want to lose that type of presence in the team. And I do feel like potentially maybe Pulisic could feel a lot more confident now to really, remain at the club and focus towards the next season. But at the same time, I can't really sit here and not understand the concerns the player may have. Since Tuchel came over, we've seen Pulisic play as a wing-back for quite a lot of times. We've seen him play as a cam a lot. We've seen him play as a false nine, but we don't necessarily see him playing his best position down that left-hand side. And, this clip that's being played right now, I'm literally playing it on purpose. Of course, an amazing assist that he set up for Tammy Abraham against Liverpool. Focus on the position he's picking the ball up. And ask yourselves, how many times have you seen Christian pick up balls in space out wide where he can show what he is really about? We don't really see that. So I can't really sit here and be like, we've seen the best of Pulisic and we can't get any more from the player. For me, when a player has to leave, when ideally they're going to a club that isn't on the same level as you. If they're leaving the club and they're going to a weaker team, then that it was the right time for them to go. But if Pulisic did go to Liverpool hypothetically, I think 100% the player would absolutely cook there. I think he would naturally complement what they do with their front three. We know how dangerous his movement is in behind. We know how he has, great spatial awareness too. He does have good finishing when he's confident and when he's on form. And I think that with a good preseason potentially, and if he does remain here, for sure that can come back into his game. But I do feel like maybe at times, and I've been saying this for like over 18 months, and this criticism doesn't mean I hate Tuchel. I'm sure like 95% of you guys actually realize that and understand the context I'm talking with. But I just feel like if you make some favourable conditions for players as well, sometimes you can get more from their game. And it's interesting that we've seen maybe Werner playing more down Pulisic's position more than Pulisic has actually got to play there. So let's see what could happen now that we have new owners at the club. Of course, even for cynical marketing reasons, to have like the star American player, representing one of the the best team in London, under a new owner that wants to take us to the next level. I only see a lot of pros and positives from that. You guys know that when Pulisic first came out, my reservations, but my opinions aren't just set in stone forever. I'm always open to being proven wrong, and I definitely think that I've seen so much in Pulisic over the time he's been here that I do feel that with more favourable conditions towards the player, we can see even more from him, because he still is very young. A part of me is thinking next season, I'd be happy to see maybe Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Dembele and Ziyech as like the front four to have as like wing options. I think that could be very dangerous. And I think on paper, all these players should complement each other. But I still find it interesting that of all the 6 attackers we have, Only 2 have really prospered a bit more, in like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. So who knows if Tuchel can maybe, you know, dissect the team like you spoke about before. I'm assuming naturally, maybe for this summer in particular, due to so many players leaving, that we'd have to see maybe some tweaks and updates made further towards the team for next season. But anyway, you guys give your thoughts and opinions. Do you think this would be a disaster if Pulisic did leave and let's say Liverpool did show interest? Or do you really feel like you have nothing to worry about because maybe with all the injuries the player does have, you think maybe that he's not actually going to become better and we should take the money and reinvest that? Let us know in the comment section. And of course, to end things, we have to discuss another big report today involving Ousmane Dembele. Now, I released a video a few days back talking about how Dembele agreed terms. Now, what is interesting is that a report coming out from Sport in Spain is suggesting today that a 4-year deal has been put on the table and has been agreed upon, as well as the fact that, you know, there has been agreements from Dembele, his agent as well too, on, you know, big agent fees, big signing on bonuses, big bonuses in this clauses as well too, as well as a big contract. So hopefully in the next few weeks at least, we can get like some concrete figures behind what the potential valuation and costs could be. What I do want to say before I continue on with this video is that in that video I did a few days back, I did use a Twitter source. And you guys, if you've been watching me over the years, I've been on YouTube now for like 5 years. I never ever do this at all. But this Twitter account for me personally was the only exception I've really made because I've known about her account for many years, and naturally because it's my job, I have Twitter open on the sides every single time just to keep up to date with what's happening. Just my own past observations over the years, I have seen things that she's maybe tweeted that have come to light in the future, and her tweet a few days back did suggest that terms had been agreed, signing close. I don't know how close the deal is to be signed though, but she did state that terms had been agreed, which is now coming out now from other official sources too, which does kind of paint a bit of a picture here, which gives me some confidence to believe her, especially when I've seen quite a lot of examples of this over the years. Now anyway, going back to the report that came out from Sport, they're reporting that his future could be resolved this week. Again, you know, the terminology used is kind of vague. I can give you guys some more insight and context in this video, so definitely stay tuned right to the end. But realistically, his only 2 options now is either to remain at Barcelona or sign for us. Of course, Paris Saint-Germain news keeps coming out all the time. It's kind of boring now. We've known about this for how many weeks now? Yes, Paris Saint-Germain, the player doesn't want to go there. He doesn't want to go back to Ligue 1. They gave big money, but on top of that, Luis Campos, the new sporting director that's literally just come into the club, was against that move to begin with. Now, it's interesting. Campos for me is the best of what he does. There was a time back a few years back I was desperate for this guy to be here. And I think his methodology is literally proof in the pudding, man. I mean, come on. Monaco and of course Lille winning the league based on his transfer activity, wheeling and dealings. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. And he has an incredible data analyst team. So on one hand, could there be something in the data that shows them why they shouldn't be making a move for Dembele? Or on the other hand, is it the fact that maybe Campos has realized, listen, it's quite clear that you can't win everything by having every single attacking player playing in your team, and the money we could be using for the player could be maybe reinvested in better things like, I don't know, a midfield, for example, which would probably help Paris Saint-Germain out a lot more. But anyway, realistically, it could only be Barcelona that he remains at, but unless something like, I don't know, like the Ricketts family decides to make some stupid move to try and sign them or something, or Dembele wakes up one day and realizes, you know what, actually maybe money isn't that important and I'm happy to take a dramatically lower wage because I do like staying here, that is the only way I'd see him not coming towards us. The main thing we have in our favour, which I know as a fact, which I've known for a while now, which reports have been saying too, is Thomas Tuchel. Dembele, Tuchel, these guys love each other. Dembele has such high praise for our manager. You know, my source actually put me onto a YouTube video from Bayern Sport where Dembele was interviewed and he spoke about Thomas Tuchel. I'm going to read out some of the extracts said. For example, Dembele says, Thomas Tuchel really convinced me. For me, he's my favourite coach ever. The journalist then asks, he wasn't saying don't dribble. Dembele, no. With Thomas Tuchel, I was playing on the right side at the start of the season. Then he put me in the middle as a 10, sometimes even in a flat 4-3-3. He was telling me to stay in the middle. You take your coffee and your time, as you say, and the ball will come to you, and there you go. The journalist then says, would he have left Dortmund if Tuchel stayed? And Dembele said, it would have been very difficult to leave Dortmund if Tuchel stayed. Thomas would stop any move, I'm sure. So this is the reality behind why we are even in the running to be able to sign the player, and it's down to Thomas Tuchel. Now, of course, I think maybe like Dembele is like one of these, you know, like cam/winger players where, you know, wherever he's playing in the final thirds, you know, his quality and his ability is going to show. So it's no surprise why, you know, he would be like a perfect representation of Tuchel's football and what he's trying to do. You know, maybe Dembele alongside Mount and Havertz. That could be incredibly dangerous. If that could potentially be like the big game system used against like your Man City's, Liverpool's, and then maybe against smaller teams, we could even play like that flat 4-3-3 spoke about in that interview where, you know, we have the players in the squad that can definitely cook from that. I've been saying for a long time, I want to see a best of both worlds for next season. If we do that, if we use this opportunity in this window in particular to restructure the squad, as Tuchel said before, I feel that we could be absolutely dangerous and be ready for all challenges throughout the season. But anyway, even though terms are agreed, that doesn't mean that a deal will come in the next few days or weeks. As I was also told as well too, realistically, it's going to be quite long, of course, negotiating fully with his agent. And there was some controversy that was put onto when Dembele moved from Rennes to Dortmund. The scandal at the time was the fact that Dembele's current agent in Moussa Sissoko, he actually earned the money from the agent fees when Dembele moved to Dortmund. At the time, there was a different agent that was working alongside Rennes that was actually working with Dembele. So there was a big controversy around that, and Sissoko does have a bit of a reputation ever since due to, you know, doing something like that. Declaring yourself the agent when a player already has an agent, you know, it's pretty booky. But to finalize with this news, you guys, another piece of context I can give you is that, you know, we know that Dembele has a new family, he's married, got a very beautiful wife, and, you know, another factor behind why he wants to come to Chelsea is that you have more privacy living in London. I mean, not only are you living in a, you know, one of the best cities if you're incredibly rich, you know, you've got everything local, travel's very easy to get to Paris as well too. But, you know, our media isn't quite as intrusive as they are in like Spain and other countries too. So currently, we are the favourites for Dembele, unless some craziness happens at Barcelona to completely shift things. But currently, we are the faves. Let's hope that things intensify more. This is big news coming out. Dembele, next season, could we be talking about what shirt number we want to see him in? Hey, listen, I'm feeling quite confident. For my own personal opinion, I'm feeling 80% confident we are going to get our man. So you guys, that night, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm in the FC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.